podcast today where we are discussing the feminist movement in America. But this segment, we're going to talk about God's feminist movement, because God did create man, He created woman, and He did create order in the two, and roles and job descriptions for the two,
Correct.
Cameron. And I feel as a woman, it's hard enough to keep on the role that He has, to have the children, to keep the house. It's hard enough doing all those things, let alone taking on the role of my husband too.
Yeah, my wife and I, this is where we kind of just live into this thing. So, it's very passionate. I'm very passionate about it. So when you take a look at Satan, what he wants to do is to dismantle God's original intent.
Yes.
God had a male and female working together as one. And you brought it up earlier in the sense of being comparable to him. Now, every man is different. Well, every woman is going to be different, which means that all the relationships of a husband and wife are going to be different. And so one thing that I said to my wife early on, before we got married, I said, you only have to be my wife.
Right.
You don't have to be somebody else's wife. And so you can't take a look at what else that they are doing. You have to ask me, what do I need?
Yeah. Right.
And so you're comparable to me,
Right.
and you're the helpmeet. And the strength of a woman being able to help a man fulfill, God gives a man a vision or a direction or whatever he tells him to do, like Adam was given
Right.
to tend and to keep. Well, the woman is the one that helps him do that, fulfill that, because even though Adam may be given the right to do that or the power to do that, there's a certain wisdom that he gives his wife in order to say, hey, you know what? Think about it this way. Not to give him a different direction, which is what women do now, is they want to give you a whole different vision. No, it's to help you fulfill that vision, because the man may know what to do, but he may not always know the best way to fulfill it.
And that's a great point. And, we have to stay on top of that, because a lot of times as men, I think it goes back to, in the beginning, God's perfect will was that, you had homes headed by men, but we see that as kind of drifted. But when men would not do the will of God, God used women. He raised up women. He rose up Deborah out of the Bible in the book of Judges.
Right.
Barak would not do what God wanted him to do. Therefore, he raised up Deborah, and Deborah went to Barak and gave Barak the instructions. She said, listen, God is saying we need to do this. And then the man was still so weak, when you read it, that he even said to Deborah, well, I'll go and fight the battle only if you go with me.
And that was not God's original order. And there was a price to pay for that. And so when you take a look at it being a wife being comparable, a woman being comparable to the man, one of the things that the Lord said was that, if at the end when the curse came in, was that you were going to end up now wanting to order your man around.
Yes, exactly.
Do we ever see that?
Proverbs 14 says, the wisest of women builds her house, but folly with her own hands tears it down. And you see that all the time. Even the Bible speaks of dressing like a man. It says a woman shall not wear a man's garment, nor a man put on a woman's cloak, for whoever does these things is an abomination.
Right. You're not going to be blessed. You're not going to be blessed.
That word abomination means it is disgusting.
Right.
That's right.
That's powerful.
That is very powerful.
And so far from where we are in our society today.
And it causes chaos.
Yeah.
And when you're out of godly order, it causes chaos. And God cannot, He's not the author of chaos, and nor can He be around chaos. And so, but if you look at our children and our homes, that if we're in such chaos, our children can't function. And so it's just a trickle effect, a cycle that if we don't stand up and take our rightful place, it's going to continue in our society.
It continues, and what happens is that because, and I think one of the times that we spoke about this before, I dealt with the fact that most pastors, most men are afraid of women. And so when you have a pastorate that's afraid to deal with women, because women are a formidable group when they come together, when you have pastors who are afraid of women, you'll end up having a female man running the church.
That's right.
Because now he has been castrated by the women in the church, and so now he leads.
Feel ganged up on.
He feels ganged up on, and so it's very important that if you're going to have a male leader, he's not afraid of women. One of the things that I've said to my wife is that there's this box that I have. You can't come in here. That's between me and God. And so when God tells me what to do, now I come outside of that box and I say, here's what God said, help me fulfill it. But if you come in that box, somebody's getting kicked out, and it's not going to be God or me.
Not enough room in there.
And I like that, Cameron, you know, that when you talk about having females in that, Paul had female co-workers.
Yes,
Correct.
He had Priscilla, he had Phoebe, he had all these women, and it talks about how, you know, was Priscilla, she was actually working alongside her husband.
Well, Jesus did.
Yeah, she was doing all this work. So I don't think that we're trying to minimize the impact of women
That's right.
and saying that God is not using women or calling women, but we do think that women need to stay in their role, and the
Where
same with
the
men.
role,
But then we have to take it a step further and look at all of these families where we don't have a man.
Yeah.
We don't have a head of the house. So women and some children, boys grow up, they never had a father in the home, so they don't know what to role model after.
that is
Well, that's where the church comes
Yes,
in.
that's
You know,
right.
that's where the church comes in. And that's why you need a strong role model as a man, as a pastor or apostle, prophet, teacher, those kind of things within the church. And then you need the brethren to take their place
Yes.
Right.
and be that substitute father to those children,
Yes.
because they need that. And if they don't have that, they have nothing else but the world to follow.
That's all.
And so the church has to understand its responsibility.
Here's a scripture that no women like. I don't know many women, maybe some do, I don't know, but it says that Sarah in Galatians, I believe it is, Sarah called Abraham Lord.
yes, she
Lord.
did.
And, you know, when that got into trouble was when she
Lord Larry.
when she went to
Lord
Larry.
Cameron.
Are you watching, Larry? She just called you Lord. Yeah, Lord Edward.
Lord Larry,
Edward.
that's it.
But when that got in disorder was when she went to him and she said, "Hey, you know, we're not having children. Doesn't look like we're going to have children. How about going with my plan?" Now, how's that working out?
Which was a
Plan
different
B.
vision, Plan B.
Exactly.
Okay? And so that's what happens, and we have to understand. That's an example for us too. We end up with an Ishmael because we don't have right order in the house.
don't you?
I love this subject because it's about getting God's people back in order. I love it.
Stay with us when we return. We're going to talk about the benefits of doing things God's way.